another thing to point out, Disney's domination of the Oscars is officially over with Bob Iger stepping down. I have the story here, Alan. I'll bring it up. Bob Iger's last day was yesterday.
Oh,
I know you're very sad about it, but let's put this story up. I think you have it. It's from Screen Rant here.
Yeah, and you gotta get rid of that.
Get rid of these ads. Disney's domination of the Oscars is officially over. I mean, I kind of feel like their nominations for like Elio and whatnot, that was just token. Like, well, we need to fill out enough people in that category, so we'll give it to Elio. What's in the story, Alan?
All right. Well, Disney's domination of the Oscars is officially over. Sony and Netflix K-pop Demon Hunters won the 2026 Academy Award for Best Animated Feature, ending a long era of dominance by Disney Animation and Pixar. Since the category was introduced in 2001, Disney quickly established itself as the defining powerhouse of animated filmmaking for the Oscars. Through both Pixar and Walt Disney Animation Studios, the company produced a steady stream of critically acclaimed and commercially successful films that frequently took home the award. Pixar classics like Finding Nemo, The Incredibles, Ratatouille became the benchmark of storytelling, and Disney Animation delivered its own Oscar-winning hits such as Frozen, Zootopia, and Big Hero 6. For nearly 2 decades, it was common for Disney or Pixar to win the category in every few years, cementing the studio's reputation as the gold standard in mainstream animation. However, since Disney's last win with Encanto came in 2022, the studio has gone 4 consecutive years without taking home the Oscar, marking the longest losing streak it has ever experienced in the category. During the stretch, Best Animated Feature race was dominated by filmmakers outside of Disney's umbrella. Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio won in 2026. Miyazaki's Studio Ghibli, The Boy and the Heron in 2024. And the Latvian film Flow of 2025, and then anchored by 2026's victory for K-pop Demon Hunter. It continues the trend and highlights how animation landscape has broadened beyond Disney's long-standing influence. Its success reflects a growing appetite for fresh styles, international voices, and unconventional storytelling in animation.
Yeah, I just feel like, Pixar has lost its touch.
Disney
has for sure. So
I should write a 4-part article about this.
You could write an update. And something worth mentioning, Bob Iger is out. He's out. Alan, here's a quick story. It's just worth mentioning because this relates, but Disney CEO changeover. Josh D'Amaro says Disney Plus will be digital centerpiece for growth as Bob Iger delivers farewell address. It has meant more to me than I can say. But they say he was more like a portfolio manager than a creative driving force. We've talked about Iger quite a bit. What do you think? I feel like that's the assessment, this article. Yeah. He was like a manager of a portfolio, like investments. Like, I'm going to buy Marvel. I'm going to buy Star Wars. But was he creative? No, because every creative decision he made turned out to be bad decisions. What's your evaluation?
Yeah, I think about when Bob Iger first came on, Disney was in turmoil. Michael Eisner and crew had, they saved Disney, Eisner and gang.
Yeah.
But the problem is at the end of Eisner's reign, he was more about protecting his stock values than he was about growing a company. To the point where Roy Disney Jr., they fired him off the board. And I remember Roy was very active after being fired. He was very active about taking control back over Disney, and there was a lot of wrangling going on. And I think they finally agreed, okay, Bob Iger was the guy. And right out of the gate, he did some really good things, things that on paper looked perfect. One was they bought Pixar. I think that was a big deal, and it needed to be done. They bought Marvel. I think, they bought Marvel at a time, and so they were, so there was all this excitement about all these purchases Disney was making. All these purchases seemed to make sense.
Yeah.
And then you realize that the guy at the top didn't know what he was doing.
Well, he was not. First of all, the choice to acquire Marvel and Star Wars, very smart.
Yeah.
But every decision after they were, and Marvel held firm for a long time before they started to, the Disney influence crept in, whether it be casting decisions or choices of material. It
was complicated. They had to get the rights back from Paramount. Because Paramount was Marvel Studios at the time. But the problem is that, okay, a CEO doesn't necessarily need to be creative. They need to run a business. They need to understand what it takes to grow a business, to have a vision for the business going forward. And what do? You hire people who can do that, who can take Marvel, who can take Star Wars and grow it. And he failed miserably. He chose the wrong people, and he continues to choose the wrong people now.
And he, in effect, destroyed and reduced the value of both properties.
Yeah.
And when you look at his creative decisions, not involving George in the sequel trilogy, choosing to feature the new Star Wars sequel trilogy characters in Star Wars Land, that was a misfire. That $1 billion hotel with the Star Wars hotel, that was a bomb that closed. These were his creative decisions. So make of that what you will. More of a portfolio manager than a creative.
Yeah. I mean, he essentially did what Eisner did, and it just continued. I need to protect these stock values. And so the thing that bugs me the most about Bob Iger is, he forgot the people who got him there, and those were the fans. Disney had a rabid fan base, and by raising prices, by not putting the fan first, because that's what Eisner did. There was a recognition that these Disney adults and that these families with kids, these are the people who are going to grow your company, and you need to make products that appeal to them. And all it was, hey, we got this stuff, let's just move it forward. I'll hire these people, not knowing. Again, I think my point here is there's this disconnection that Disney has with its fan base. And again, I have not stepped foot in Disneyland since the pandemic, because what's there? Avengers Campus? Oh, okay, thanks.
Neither have I. 2019 was the last time I went to Disneyland.
Me too.